I've gotten tagged in the fragile masculinity video more times than I can count. I'm reacting to one creator's reaction to it. Then, first, we'll have a talk about the DL Whisperer and how he ripped black culture in two tonight on Dear Black Gay Men Podcast. And the show starts right now. What up, though? I am Jay the Gentleman. That's at JAI the Gentleman on IG. It is Wednesday. So it's time for a new episode of Dear Black Gay Men Podcast. It's still our short, bullshit-free step out of our comfort zone to talk about all the emotional ups and downs along the journey to happiness. Hopefully, this is your reminder of how dope it is to be black gay men who love black gay men, even if we're 5 minutes late. I am Jay the Gentleman. Let's get into the episode. Oh, God, I love this show. Okay, I've talked about my relationship with DL men on the show many, many times. I have never particularly been masculine or unclockable. I think when I walk into the room, people are pretty clear that one of the gays is here. But for a period of time, DL men loved my company. I think they might still love it to this day. One guy told me that he gets to be himself when he's with me. I've never had to negotiate positions with DL men. I've never had to discuss who cooked and who cleaned with DL men. I've never even had to talk about who was going to be the big spoon or the little spoon, or what type of masculine or feminine dynamics applied to one or both of us. Ironically, DL men showed me that all men, especially black men, can be soft and sensitive while also being strong and protective. So, the DL Whisperer, who is now banned on TikTok, has been giving people, particularly women, tools, I'm using that in quotation marks, to clock their DL behaviors. Now, I'm not going to be playing any of the content from this particular creator, A, because they are blocked, and B, because I don't think they contribute to the being black gay men who love black gay men aesthetic of our show. But I do want to react to some other creators' commentary on the DL Whisperer. Whew. I will tell you that getting here today has been a task. Getting into the show, you forget one password and all of a sudden everything's wrong. Panthro beat everybody. Holla at your boy is the first comment I saw. Hey, Rolando. And he says, hey, Rolando. Ibanu Gaden says it's been a minute since I caught DBGM. Welcome back. Hey everybody. Somebody said, where is Jay? I was not on CP time today. I will tell you that I was locked out of the computer. locked out of everything. This is what happens when you a skeleton crew. But today's show is going to be good. I will say that this show is going to be interesting because we're talking about a whole bunch of different things. So I'm going to get into the reaction. Let's see what the first creator had.
Post that he makes. I'm so confused on why the fuck is people saying, like, even gay people. I'm confused. Like, I don't agree with the out and shit, but I mean, I really don't give a fuck. If I don't like you, I just don't like you. Don't get me wrong. I think it is a certain level of disrespect to one of his posts. One that I just seen about the people, like, if you go to the dentist and your man is not spending money, some shit like that, with a doctor. I think that's wrong. I'm going to be real. That's
okay. Let's get back. So, real quick. How do y'all clock DL men? That's the first question I got. I actually prepared a whole bunch of questions for this episode. I got cards and stuff. How do y'all clock DL men in 2025? I think that in queer culture, we call it trade. But, the rest of society will call it DL. People who are down low, people who are having sex or connections with both genders or multiple genders at the same time. I don't really call that DL because I'm one of the girls, but how do y'all clock trade nowadays? Because I will tell you, trade is so hard to clock now because it feels like either A, everybody's a little bit gay, or B, everybody's a little bit gay, or B, everybody looks a little bit gay. So in my head, I don't know how y'all are clocking it now. And I think that's why the DL Whisperer kind of took footing on TikTok, is because he's giving tools, I would say weapons. He's giving weapons to give unsuspecting women, some context. But I'm just like, What? I feel like DL used to be just men who wanted to fuck around. Now I will say that I've never been the other woman. I've never been with a DL dude who had a girl. He might have had a baby mama, but they weren't together, or he may have had whatever. But I've never been the other woman. Like he left me to go back to a woman. I have had the experience of having men who tell me that they feel a lot more comfortable being themselves around me because I'm one of the girls. Panthro says they DM you with no pictures. Rolando says they stay in his DMs. I will say that Rolando, for you, it might also be because you got that off the market smell about you. You got that off the market cologne, that off the market musk. Because I will tell you one thing: the second that I said that I was committed to somebody, all of a sudden people commenting on posts and responding to stories that I ain't never seen, never heard of, didn't know you was following me. Now, granted enough, I don't know every one of my followers, but when you got that off the market musk, the girls will fall out of the woodwork. And granted enough, I don't have an eye for DL anymore because, again, I think everybody's a little bit gay, or at least everything in Atlanta is a little bit gay. There's gay on every single corner of this city. Every peach tree, every uh incorporated or unincorporated, everything in here is a little bit gay. You get off the plane at Hartsfield Jackson and it smells like a little bit of poppers and a whole bunch of fleet. Everything in the city a little bit gay. So I think clocking DL in Atlanta is either really easy or really hard because everything has this very gay smell about it. Everybody booty hole been touched a little bit. And no offense to the tops that are gonna watch this and be like, Jay, I don't give fuck like that. Okay. People be taking my words very, very seriously already. Holla at your boy says I don't put it past anyone. Rolando says OMFG, that's toxic as fuck if he's for real. Ibanu Gaten said, I'm old. Are we still checking for the undercover men's? That's a good fucking point. I am not. I talk about that a little later in the show, but I am not checking for these girls that are on the down low doing the things in the DMs and all the bullshit. I ain't checking for that shit on any level for any reason. I like my men's gay. I like my men's with some sugar in their tank. I like my men's unequivocally attracted to men. Now, I'm not exclusive. You can also be attracted to women. I'm not, but you can be. You can also be attracted to people of trans experience, but I need you to be able to stand 10 toes down on that shit. You can't be in the closet with me. Because I got Hoochie Daddy Hunting on my hat. I host Dear Black Gay Men podcast. The weird thing is the second that I got comfortable with myself, the less I even saw DL out in the world. That's my story. I'm gonna talk a little bit more about that later in the show. Let's keep going with this. What this creator said. He's sparking a little bit of conversation, and he got that light gay voice, and y'all know I like a gay voice.
That's dangerous. That's a dangerous game. Did a video saying, the way you put your hand in your pocket tells you if you some shit like that. And then JC made a video saying like he has a point. Straight people are fucking simps. Now these
You got that right. One thing I'm so baffled by is how straight people have all these tools to clock DL, but they can't clock DL. DL only exists because straight people can't clock it. Because straight women are so so overly mystified by like a quote good man that they don't see all these signs. And in my head, every single gay man that I've talked to be like, I could have seen that a mile away. You don't see that walk. You don't see that voice. You don't see that sachet. You don't see it. And let me be clear, it's not just voices like mine, walks like mine, people got a whole bunch of lip gloss and they wearing makeup. No, that's not what I'm talking about. There is a vibe around men who are attracted to men. And you can be the most masculine man possible in any environment and a gay man can clock it for our own safety. Like you can be a masculine man because gay people come in masculine, just like gay people come in feminine, just like gay people come in tall and short and black and white and all the things. Gay people come in every shape, size, and color under the sun. But the fact of the matter is, you ain't gonna be able to if you don't. President Barack Obama said it best. Everybody needs a gay friend. every single person on the planet needs a gay friend. And I would bet American dollars and cents, I would bet some Tubmans that the women that succumb to the allure of a DL man, unknowingly or unwittingly, probably don't got no gay friends in their life. They are probably the ones calling us faggots under their breath. They're probably the ones demonizing people for sexuality. They're probably the ones that ain't never been to a good brunch. They probably the ones that wear the Monica low white open toe slides. They probably the ones that who edges is gone. They probably ones who ain't never had a good beat and they probably the one with a circle of friends who let them walk out the house any old kind of way. If you don't have a good gay friend in your life, I guarantee you, your mind for DL is nowhere. You're going to end up on an episode of Karamo Show talking about he ain't the father. I guarantee you, President Barack Obama said it best. Everybody needs a good gay friend. And I will tell you this, the more, like for my life, I'll tell you my life. I understood trans people the closer I got to trans people. I understood. Now, granted, I cannot fully understand trans experience. I'm going somewhere with this. I'm about to connect it. But I understood trans people. I got a sensitivity for pronouns. I got a sensitivity for how people express and what people want to be called and how to better respect them, the closer I got to trans people. And so when I look at trans people, it's less of a surprise when somebody says, "Oh, I'm trans." Regardless, they could have a full beard, they could be tall or short or this or that. But when they say I'm trans, it's less of a surprise. It's not jarring for me. And I will wager that the people that have gay people in their life in meaningful relationships, I don't mean the girl down, you got a hairdresser or somebody do your braids. I don't mean frivolous. I mean, if you have the closer you get to gay people, the more equipped you are to clock gay tendencies in men that you are attracted to, and B, be able to deal with that shit in real time, because DL is not just a phenomenon about men who are deceptive. DL is a phenomenon about how either one side fetishizes these men or another side is oblivious to their existence and demonizes them for being the way they are. Both of those things are problems in black culture. And DL is the remedy for certain men and women to that. And it's fucked up either way you slice it. Let's keep going. There's another creator who just said something.
Girl, come here. If you're not listening to anything in this video, you need to make sure you listen to this. The more that a DL man know that you know about them, the more they're going to camouflage themselves, okay? So what the DL Whisperer is doing on here is not helping y'all in no way, shape, or form. I understand that y'all feeling a breath of fresh air. I understand that y'all feel like y'all can clock a gay man, y'all can clock a DL man, but it's going to get harder and harder and harder, because what a DL man is going to do is see that another man is on here trying to help y'all clock him, and it's going to make them camouflage even more. Just imagine you are a DL man. You just hug your girl with a pink shirt on. She just left. You see a video of her gay friend telling her that, "Oh, DL men always wear a pink shirt." When she come back home, are you going to be wearing that pink shirt? No, you're going to be wearing a green shirt because you're trying to camouflage yourself.
I'm going to stop right there.
These YNs.
Ooh. I'm going to stop right there. So I ain't going to get too deep in the how to clock a DL man, because I think DL is a symptom of a much bigger problem among black people. Now, I don't know if white folk deal with DL like the black people do, because I ain't white and I don't care. But I will tell you this. DL is not a microcosm. It does not exist just because men want to be greedy. It exists because the culture that said man would come out to is not safe. And we queer people really got to deal with that. And that's the reason I want to have this conversation. I want y'all to let me know in the comments. Do you think that us on the outside of the closet have a responsibility to help those who are inside it? That's a real question. Do we have a responsibility to help the people that are inside the closet? I want y'all to let me know that in the comments. Okay, if you want to join me on the show, if you got guts, If you got an opinion, if you ready to talk and you want to come on this show, let me know. You can go to livestream.dearblackgaymen.com to join me live on the show, and we will be right back. So I could do two things. It's one, thirst trap on the internet and look good for my man when I find one. And that's why I'm excited that support for Dear Black Gay Men comes from Twillery. Black men, whether you're in the gym like me or blessed with good genetics like me, carry our weight in a couple key spots that can make suits and slacks hard to fit and uncomfortable to wear without either having to size up or break the bank in tailoring. But Twillery answers the fit problem with their performance fabrics. It's the right fit for the tailored look and just enough stretch for comfort and breathability. I'm wearing right now the solid performance polo that hugs my chest and arms while tapering just enough at the waist to show off the good parts. Twillery carries suiting, polos, button-ups, and everything to impress at the job or knock someone's socks off on a date. And you can shop for the perfect fit right now at Twillery.com, and we've got a special offer for the DBGM family. Take $18 off your first order by using code M300J. That's Twillery.com, and we thank them for supporting our channel. What is stigma? I truly believe that it comes up when you think something can't happen to you. Like when we think we could never be femme, so we end up with femphobia laced all up and through our dating profiles. Or when we don't be out there like that, so we slut shame people for doing openly what we try to sneak and do privately. But there aren't too many spaces where stigma rises to a criminal level like it does with HIV.
Knowingly gave her HIV and never told her he was infected.
We're talking to 4 black men from across the country, all living with HIV. I want to see how stigma comes up in their lives and what we can all do to overcome it. What up, y'all? I need your help. There's this new feature on YouTube that can help us grow as a channel. It's called Hype. It's free. I've seen it work on small channels just like ours, but it only works if we all do it. Antonio Speaks is a channel that I follow. He started at 20K subscribers when I hit the subscribe button, and I've seen him get 1,000 new subs in a day. Hundreds of thousands of new viewers. In YouTube, right next to the like and share, there's this new button called Hype. The more a video gets hyped, the higher it will rank on YouTube. The higher we rank, the more people get to see our content, the faster Dear Black Gay Men continues to grow. Like this video right now. When you see Dear Black Gay Men content on YouTube, even if you've watched it already or attended the live, like the video, drop a comment, and click the hype button. I appreciate y'all more than I can express. Let's get to 20K. What up, though? Welcome back to Dear Black Gay Men podcast. I am Jay the Gentleman. The comments have been commenting, and I want to respond to one of them. Shamar Wells, I think, is the one who said he's cute. The dude in the last reaction that we did. Yep, Shamar Wells said he's handsome. So that is D Montreal. He is D Montreal on the internet, and he's been on the show before. And he is one of the people that I tell him he absolutely cannot possibly understand how fine he is. He got the thick beard, he got good skin, he got good teeth, he's a butch queen, he's tall with deep waves. He has no clue how fine he is. And what I've come to realize is a lot of us don't know how fine we are. A lot of the men in queer culture just do not know how fine we are. We think being fine is normal because we're surrounded by fine men all the time, but no, friend, fine is a finite resource, and not everybody got it, which is why I call men beautiful all the time. But it is now time for church announcements. Hit it. Every week, I write about the ups and downs of my dating journey on our blog on Substack. It's the deep dive into my emotional and sexual trials while I manifest my man in 2025. You can join for free by clicking the screen now, or the link is in the description. Why does DL still exist in black culture? I used to fuck with DL men hard until I came to my senses, but DL still happens in our culture for the same reason every cringe moment happens in our culture. Because we pay attention to it. DL men exist because they can. Women find them attractive for one reason or another. Men find them attractive for one reason or another. And the DL man is in the middle, enjoying the best of both. From my life, Down Low only eliminated itself from my life when I got the courage to evict that bitch and leave his stuff on the sidewalk. Then, all of a sudden, my whole life became gay and proud because my outlook became gay and proud. The only way to get our cultural obsession with DL is for men to stop fetishizing down low and trade, and women to stop demonizing sexuality. When those two things happen, the net gain is all men that are courageous enough to be upfront about who they are, and men and women can make their own decisions about their attraction without making somebody else to be the bad guy. Until then, I guarantee you, niggas just gonna do what niggas gonna do. Follow for more dope queer stories. The easiest way to support what we do here on Dear Black Gay Men is to become a YouTube member. Members get access to exclusive conversations, the members only chat, behind the scenes content, and you can join me right here to chop it up on the show. And a portion of your memberships and super chats will be donated to an Atlanta area nonprofit providing HIV prevention and care in Black gay culture. Just hit the join button below this episode or send a super chat of any amount. For all the latest updates, follow me everywhere on socials at JAI the Gentleman on Instagram and Threads. That concludes our church announcements. Please govern thyself accordingly. Before I go to break, I want to remind everybody, if you have not subscribed to Dear Black Gay Men, hit that subscribe button and turn the notifications on. We go live Monday through Thursday here on YouTube, but we will be right back.
Do you know your HIV status? When you do, you can take control of your sexual health. HIV self-tests give you the power to decide when and where to test. You just swab and stick it in the tube. Test in the privacy of your own space. You can set a timer, sit back, and wait. In as little as 20 minutes, you'll know your results. No matter your test results, you have a community waiting to support you.
I love being able to test where I want.
I love that it's confidential and quick.
You gotta love free.
It makes me feel empowered.
When I show myself love, I show my community love.
It's important to know my status.
It's important to know your status.
It's cool to know, you know?
If we all get tested, we can stop HIV together. Learn more about HIV testing, including free HIV self-tests, at cdc.gov/HIV self-testing.
Welcome back to Dear Black Gay Men Podcast. I am Jay the Gentleman. Nico's Aesthetics is one interview that I would absolutely love. He's got the best titties on the internet. He covers the culture of adult entertainment on his YouTube channel, but here recently he's been diving into Black queer cultural topics like this video that's been going around about fragile masculinity. So the fragile masculinity video is, there's this boy, I would say a butch queen, but he doesn't really fit butch queen because he is very, very feminine. And he doesn't fit femme queen because he's not trans. So I don't know. He is androgynous. Maybe that's the word for it. Androgynous. But if you ask him, are you a boy? In the video, he said the answer is yes. But, you know, I'm one of the girls, so I'd be like, hey girl. But straight man took this person out named Donnie, took this person out on a date. Or they were about to go on a date. And they had been texting, preparing for the date. They had been, you know, talking. They've been kissing apparently in this straight bar or this establishment, wherever, right? So leading up to this date, the guy had suspicions, and on the way to the date, picks up Donnie from Donnie's house. On the way to the date, says, "Are you a man?" And Donnie says, "Yeah." As if it were obvious. Now I have seen a little piece of what we're gonna react to, but it's not obvious. It's not. Now, there are some masculine features about Donnie, but he looks like a girl. And I don't mean like a girl. I mean like he looks like he could be a female. So the straight guy says, "That's not my thing," turns around, takes Donnie home. And Donnie has this whole rant about how the man demonstrated aspects of fragile masculinity. Now, Nico's Aesthetics reacted to Donnie's reaction. I've already got my concerns about what Donnie calls fragile masculinity, but we're going to be reacting to Nico's take. Let's see if it works. Here we go.
basically went viral because he came online and talked about his experience on how a date got cut short.
Just had a man pick me up for a date. He asked me if I was a man in the car. I said yes. This man turns around and takes me back home. Now, this is a very prime example of somewhat fragile masculinity, but also dishonesty. Not on my end, but on the end of the suitor. I met him last Friday at a club when I was out with my girlfriends. At some point, we duck off, we're talking, we're chatting, we're really having a good time. We're throwing banter back and forth, we're being flirty, all these things. Mind you, I'm flat-chested.
Okay, let's dive in right here. So, first, for the gays in the chat, gays, theys, bisexual, pansexual, for the men's here in the chat, you see Donnie in the club. What are you thinking? If I saw Donnie, I would not look at this person and be like, you're a boy. I would absolutely be like, that's a girl. And I don't mean like that's a girl, like one of the girls. Like, what would you see if you saw this person? If you saw this person in the club, are you assuming that this is a man? Or are you assuming this is a woman? I think it looks like a girl. Am I the drama? Or am I off base? Because I can be off base on this one. But help me out. Help me understand. Help me, nigga. I see a girl, but maybe I'm the drama. Keep going.
As fuck. I am not a woman. I'm just a very beautiful man. Proceeds to kiss me, XYZ, right? Has been texting me every day since last Friday when I gave him my number. He proceeds to tell me in the car, I don't really know how to ask this, or, I really just don't know how to bring this up, but are you a man?
Pause right there. Okay, because I'm about to start fast forwarding through this, but I see a couple comments. Holla at your boy said, femme queen, trans, no shade. Absolutely no shade taken. I think Donnie, this person, I think Donnie's vibe is they are androgynous. No, I don't think this is androgynous. I think this is ambiguous. And I think there is a difference. MIH Bags, which I love, said, I wouldn't have questioned Donnie at all. That's a lady, a ladybug. But do you mean a lady like a gay boy, or you mean a lady like a female? Because I'm really curious about the distinction here, because I'm getting somewhere with this. Cortez says a beautiful man is what I see. Now, no shade. This is really no shade. The beautiful part, again, I don't have a thing for long hair. Long fake hair or long hair fashioned as a woman. That's never my vibe. That's respectful. I can see that you are pretty, but I wouldn't go as far as saying beautiful. Cause again, my eyes have eyes. I got eyes for men's. Rolando said, hey Rolando, I says I would think female, but I try to never assume someone's gender. I think those are all very, very self-aware observations. I see a woman. And now I do think that now if this was a gay club, if we in Bulldog somewhere or at Bizarre Euphoria or some space that's queer friendly here in Atlanta, then yeah, I'd be like, okay, that's a girl. That's one of the girls. But if we are at, Ruth Chris Steakhouse, that's a totally different situation. That's a totally different change. If we're in Kroger, I hear that voice, I see that body, I'd be like, oh, that's one of the girls. I mean, that's a female. Chris Pine says, regardless, hey, he did you a favor. Oh, you getting to the story. He did you a favor, let him go and be with someone who asks, are you a trans woman instead of are you a man? He showed how ignorant he is. I don't know if that's where I'm at in the story. Maybe I'm not understanding. I'll get to that particular comment in just a second. Tell90 says, honestly, I think it's disingenuous to think that Donnie was a man at first glance. I would not have thought Donnie was a man. And I like girly boys. But I think Donnie takes girly or femme presenting or beautiful, as he said, to a whole nother level that really does look like he is a passable female. And I don't think that, okay, so now because I know what Donnie's about to say, I'm getting ahead of it, but let's keep going.
I looked at him and I was like, yes, I am. I'm just a very feminine man. He pulls over and he's like, I just want to sit over and just like kind of talk about this for a second. I've never been in this position before, so I'm just like not really sure how to handle it. I had an inkling of a thought, but I didn't want to ask you and you be offended if you were not. However, it's just not something that I'm into particularly.
Okay, pause right there. Now, this is the butch queen in me is saying this man, whoever he is, demonstrated so much evolution. This story honestly gave me hope for straight men, because we all know, unless you have been living under a rock, we all know stories where this same situation comes up for one of the girlies and it goes a different way. And I think there was just someone who was unalived just recently for mistaken identity or putting a man in a position where he has to be honest about his attractions. And so I think that the other man in this story demonstrated and expressed so much evolution and intentionality behind how he was communicating with Donnie. And that is one of the reasons why this video, this social media craze is so weird to me, because to label that as fragile masculinity in an insulting way is so fucked up. If I were masculine or if I were straight, it feels like I can't win for losing. I respect you and tell you that I'm not into you. That's fragile masculinity. Somebody else beats somebody up. That's also fragile and toxic masculinity. And neither of those can. How does a straight man see a woman, a trans woman, a girly boy, and how do they express interest in your femininity but not in you as a person and not be labeled as something? Why can't he just be a man that's straight? The man was so respectful, and I think that the response to this from this creator is just so unfortunate. And I think it's only because this person has the luxury, has the privilege of being A, passable, and B, dealing with very evolved men. Because you put this same girl in the middle of the hood over here in South DeKalb and pull these same stunts, and all of a sudden it's a totally different vibe. And I don't think that should be the plight of anybody, but we can't run away from the reality that there are some very closed-minded, very violent, very toxically masculine men who have taken this as an opportunity to do something destructive. All right, Aaron Woods Lee 7700 says, whoever the man was sounds very respectable and evolved. Kudos to him. I agree. A King 8201 says, hey friends, I missed y'all. We missed you too, Pumpkin. Panther says the guy was being respectful. Now the irony is, I did in researching this topic, the other creator, Donnie, do you think it was because he was rejected? Absolutely. That's what Panther asked. It wasn't because he was rejected. But this creator, Donnie, has since done several follow-ups of this story because it doesn't make any sense. Not to me, at least. It don't make no sense for somebody to first acknowledge their attraction. When Donnie said, I've never been in this situation. Acknowledge the attraction. B, say, but it ain't my vibe. And C, take your ass back to your house safe and sound. What did you in my head as Donnie is explaining this, because I've seen it already, I'm like, what did you expect him to do? Take you out to dinner? You are deluded enough to think he should have still took you out to dinner after you told him you're a man? Because in my head, if you a man, yeah, we can go out to dinner. You pay for your own shit. I'll pay for my own shit, and we can be homeboys now because I know your tea. Let's keep going.
I think that's part of a bigger conversation as it relates to Black men being interested in just feminine energy, period. He proceeded to apologize, and he's like, I'm so sorry. Like, I just felt like I needed to get this off my chest and at least just ask. But if I'm being honest, I was just like, okay, yeah, like that's fine. Like, no harm, no foul. Like, it's all good. He's like, is it okay if I just, turn around and take you back home? I'm like, absolutely, yes, please. We sat there in silence as he did a U-turn and literally dropped me back off.
That has to be the most awkward the most awkward drive home. That's worse than a walk of shame in my book. Cause I would hate the reason why this is so interesting to me is because the opposite would not affect me deeply. Like if I pulled somebody that I am attracted to, let's say they are a stud, not trans, a stud. Because I am attracted to trans men. I absolutely would date trans men. Me and trans men would have an amazing time as I would with any man. But let's say, hypothetically speaking, I pulled a stud. Did not know this person was a stud. They're attracted to me. I'm attracted to them. We do all the things. We go through this exact same scenario. And then in the end, I find out they identify as a woman. I will still go. I will still go. I will still take him out on a date. I'd still be attracted to him because different than this particular person, I'm attracted to masculinity. I'm attracted to a spectrum of masculinity, not just stereotypical masculinity, because I'm not really attracted to that, but anything short of hard masculine, I can find attraction to it. Fun fact. So I was at a retreat. I was at a retreat in Houston. And I met someone, trans man. The retreat was for queer people. So there were several people of trans experience. There were several lesbians and bisexuals and gays, and everybody was there, right? And so I'm there. There's this guy. He is super duper mask. Like, we're all queer in this space. But when I leaned in to give him a hug and welcome, be like, hey, I'm Jay, you could see him recoil. He was just uncomfortably masculine. And it was so like he only opened up. We're there for a whole weekend for a business retreat. He only opened up like the last hour of the last day, to me at least. He was very open with other people of trans experience, but he didn't open up to me in the way that I would have wanted him to open up. Come to find out, I used to do his hair before he transitioned. And that's what like broke the cycle. But now when I met him, he was a woman. Transitioned, and now he is more of himself, and I see that he's more of himself, but he is like super duper hard masculine. Like, ooh, like talking to him, it feels like he gonna punch you in the face, even though he's so nice. I was gonna say sweet, but I don't want that to be misinterpreted. While he is an attractive man, bodybuilder, short, beard, bald-headed, he's an attractive man, I had like nothing down under. No reaction, because he is so masculine. He is so hard. And I like masculinity that is soft. So everything from every version, brand, and size of Butch Queen, I got eyes for. Every version, brand, and size of trans masculine, I got eyes for. As long as it's not hard. Every version, brand, and size of even studs. Like if I could find, if a stud had like a little, I don't even know how to describe it, but if a stud was, I'd be like, hey, what's up? You cute. What's your name? Like yesterday I was talking about catcalling. I'd be like, hey, blue shirt. I'm just kidding. I would not catcall someone who I did not have a relationship with. But that's just me. I am attracted to all versions of masculinity as long as it has some softness in it. Mr. Calvin C said it was a heavy hitters. No, it was not heavy hitters. Heavy hitters is a pride for bigger bodied men and those who love them. It was not heavy hitters. Although I do want to go. I have the right here on my desk. Heavy hitters pride. Every pound has a story. I have their water bottle right here. Meanwhile, it's hard for me if it's not hard as a rock. So I will be too soft for you, Joseph. Would I be too soft? I would not be offended. You can be honest. But would I be too soft? I'm really curious about that. But let's keep going. While y'all got them comments coming in, let's keep going.
But it goes to show that sexuality truly is a spectrum. And while people may not be into whatever parts people have or whatever the case may be, people are just attracted to energy, period. Which is okay. That's totally.
Nope. I disagree with that wholeheartedly. I do not think, because what. So the point that Donnie, this creator, is making is people are attracted to energy. I disagree with that, and let me tell you why. It's not that people are not attracted to energy. Everyone is attracted to an energy. Like for me, it is a masculine energy. But just like everything is a yin and a yang, it is a physical and an emotional connection. Attraction is the same thing. It is not just energy. Otherwise, a lot of us will be straighter or gayer than we allow ourselves to be. It is also anatomy. There are people who are attracted to people because they got a dick and a vibe, because they got an ass and a vibe. They got some pussy and a vibe. Or they got a vibe and pussy. They got a vibe and dick. So it's not just one or the other. And one of my frustrations with queer culture as we grow more and more accustomed to these conversations around gender expression is we make it seem as if vibe can exist separate from biology. Vibe can exist separate from physical anatomy, and they work together. Now there are some people like me who are hey Carlos, thank you so much for your super chat, $1.99. So there are some people who are attracted to several different kinds of physical makeups, but it doesn't change the fact that there is a physical component to the vibe. It's both. Because there are many people who they got the right pipes, but their vibe is absolutely fucked. And I'd be like, hell no, get the fuck away from me. Or there are people who got a great energy, but they don't got the right pipes. I know many lesbians and studs and people of trans experience that have all the right makeup emotionally, but they don't got the right pipes to scratch the itch I got. So actual attraction, like something that can blossom into a relationship, is both pieces. And I don't think it does any of us any justice. It does not do our culture any service to make it seem as if one can have a vibe and not need the physical parts. And I also do not think it does us any justice to assume that one can have the parts and not check your vibe. It's gotta be both, in my experience. Ibanu Gaten said you can't fuck energy. I agree. You can't fuck energy. Now, granted enough, you ain't got to be the most well-equipped individual on the planet. You ain't got to have the biggest ass or the fattest dick or all the things. But at some point, these clothes are coming off. And we have to be able to take that vibe and translate it into a physical connection, into physical intimacy. Just like sometimes you got to take physical intimacy and translate it into a connection. I think a relationship is just a cycle of those two things. Joseph said, yeah, trans men are very sexy, but I can't slip between nobody's curtains. I would wager, Joseph, don't knock it till you try it. Because, and now let me also, I don't want to paint people of trans experience as a monolith, but I will say, as someone who has been emotionally connected to trans men, been physically intimate with trans men, and also been in close friendship with trans men. Like I've tried to incorporate people of trans experience into my life in as many ways as I can, so that I can make sure that I'm checking all of my privilege and checking all the bullshit that I carry. And having people of trans experience in my life has helped me be a better person. Let me start there. But let me also say, one thing I know about an individual who has had to be something, successfully or not, and then make the conscious decision to transition to something else that is more central to who they are. They have a breadth of experience when it comes to connecting with people that far exceeds anything a cis person would know. Like in my experience, trans men listen a way deeper than I've ever been listened to. They try to understand on a level that's really deeper. And they are intimate on levels that I had not experienced until I got with someone who has had to navigate being this and wanting to do that, and being that and trying to do this. When they have all of those experiences, they can put together a sexual scenario that is fulfilling to them, because they have had to navigate being something and becoming something else, and I hope I'm not fumbling the wording, but don't nobody connect with you like someone who has had to figure out in very concrete, real terms who they are in the first place, and that creates a space where they can figure out and get intimate with who you are emotionally, physically, interpersonally, all the things. I would say trans people, men and women and non-binary folks, have a different grasp on what it means to be. And we are all better the closer you can get to that. Not just on a sexual level, because I don't want anybody to be fetishized and, seek these out because, trying to get in somebody's pants. But things change. Conversations change. Friendships change. People change. Self-awareness changes when you have somebody of trans experience in your life. Chris Pine said something about JD Vance. That's all I saw, and I was like, definitely not gonna respond. I think it was a joke, but Panther said, "Well, I'm bottom, so I need real vain thing." Fair, but I would wager a lot of us would have different experiences. I like dick, but a sexy ass trans man, I'm knocking into some nigga pussy. No shade. I don't think that's a shady statement. Now, I would say, in my experience, we're venturing a little off the topic, but in my experience, you might want to check the use of words, because there are people who don't like the term pussy because it feels like, because of cultural context. So, like, if you're gonna actually step to somebody, there are a lot more questions you got to ask in order to make that person feel comfortable with you than you would normally have to ask with, a cis man. So, govern thyself accordingly, people of God.
Fine. I completely respect that. I'm not one of those gays that are like, I'm going to go get the trade and do this, that, and the third. That's really not my vibe. And if you are, I mean...
But didn't she just get the trade? Because that's the question that I would ask this creator. So you are telling me that the vibe you got from this gentleman is, this is a gay man. You are telling me that wherever y'all were and however y'all were communicating or connecting, the vibe you got was, this is a gay man, and he is absolutely aware that I too am a gay man. That's the part that's so baffling to me. And again, it's from a privileged perspective, because because no one questions who I am when I walk into a room. People look at me and they might be like, they say I'm black, I'm a man, I'm gay. I think that's pretty clear when I walk into a room. So I have a very privileged perspective when it comes to that. But when you are gender bending like this, you're telling me, Donnie, in this video, and hopefully we'll get to the Nico's part, but you're telling me that you walk into a room, you connected with this person, y'all exchange numbers or Instagrams or whatever, and you really thought he was a gay man making out with you in this spot. I really want to be able to talk to this person because I want to probe. Because we're assessing this as he thought you were a woman, but you legitimately thought he was gay, attracted to you. Now, mind you, I know several gay men who love feminine boys, but they too give a unequivocal vibe that says I'm gay, or more importantly, a gay man who is attracted to someone would ask, "Are you gay? Are you a boy? Are you all these things?" The fact that he was uncomfortable shows that he out of his element. But that's just me. Keep going.
Pop off queen, do your big one. But I guess my biggest problem is if you had an inkling of a thought or you felt any type of way, you should have quite literally just asked and been honest.
But that is exactly what he did, Donnie. He quite literally just asked. What else was he supposed to do?
From the very beginning. Here, I spent an hour and a half getting ready for a date, not really into it, but like I was like open to, just seeing what happened.
And see, that's where you lose me. That's where I'm ready to turn this off. Why on earth does anybody go out on dates that they're not into? That's where I think Donnie is projecting. I think Donnie was absolutely into it because Donnie, by his own admission, spent hours and hours to prepare. Why is no one ready? Like, Donnie spent hours and hours to prepare. You ain't gonna, for me, and maybe this isn't because I can relate to this to bottoms too. Because I'm in my head, I'm like, why do bottoms dush for dick that they don't think is gonna be good? That don't make no sense to me. Why would you get ready for a date with somebody you're not even into? What it sounds like is you are not man enough to acknowledge you really like this dude who did not like you. Now, for reasons you cannot control, but he's not into you. And what it really sounds like is he not into you, and you are trying to fish for a social media moment by telling this crazy ass story about how this man was actually a gentleman, even though you saying he's fragilely masculine. And you are not man enough to admit that you really just wanted him and he didn't want you. Because that's the byline. That's the through line. The man you wanted this dude, he ain't want you. You put your good things on, you got ready, you had your clothes on, you probably laid that outfit out on the bed, you smelling good, you put on your face and you curled your hair. You ain't doing all that shit for no bullshit unless you are just a gold digger. So it either is you're insecure and you're a gold digger, you're upset because somebody wasn't into you, or you're completely self-unaware. But this story doesn't add up to me. It just don't add up. There are so many so many boxes that ain't being checked. I take it personal when you ask me a question, I answer it, and then you don't read my answer. LOL JK. My bad, Joseph. I will do better. Joseph said, I do feel that we as gay people are able to express and enjoy a greater level of fluidity today because of the groundwork set forth by trans people, so we'll always love and support them. Absolutely. Now here's the my problematic opinion about it. I think people of trans experience got bad PR. Because every single person that I see that demonizes people of trans experience, usually they are talking about AMAB, assigned male at birth, trans women. Because trans women are tall, or trans women are athletic, or trans women, whatever their physical makeup is. They thinking about, quote, men in women's restrooms. I do not know one trans detractor that has the same feelings about trans men. I do not know one trans detractor that has the same feeling about trans men. As a matter of fact, I would wager that most trans men that I know in my life, regardless of their level of transition, no one would have a problem with. No one has a problem with, let me not say no one, because I don't want to dismiss the experience of trans men who have been unalived or have faced discrimination or all the things. I don't want to dismiss that experience. But I will say that most of the rhetoric that goes around society about demonizing people of trans experience is directed at trans women. And I think trans people just got bad PR. I think it's fucked up that they have to have PR in the first place, but I do think that because a lot of trans women are leading the cause, that makes society respond to that by demonizing and othering trans women, when really there are trans people walking around every day. There are many trans people. Like there's this guy, I go to church with him, and one day, and I hired him as a photographer for something. And one day he is talking to another friend of mine about bottom surgery. And I was like, I'm thinking bottom surgery like he had a hip replacement or something. And come to find out, he trans. Never would even know. Never would have known. Didn't care, but never would have known. He got a wife. I don't know if they got kids, but he got a wife. He just living a life. I look at him and I'm like, it's a straight man. But sure as shit, he confided in all of us that he is a trans man. He is not, closeted or DL about it, but never would have known. Never. Chris Pine said it's definitely bad PR. Where is Wilhelmina Ford? Get Vanessa Williams on the phone. That was a cute reference. I hear that. When you say it like that, Jay, it's definitely towards trans women. Yes. It's definitely towards trans women. It's towards drag queens. It's towards people who express as feminine. And I think that the deeper conversation is because white men who have the most privilege have created a society where they feel the need to protect their prize, white women, and anything that infringes on that is bad. It is objectifying women because these white men who do not have uteruses, who do not have any of the accoutrements of a woman, feel the need to protect their possession, and anything that infringes upon that is bad. That is why black men were bad. Insert Emmett Till. That is why trans people are bad. Insert Marsha P. Johnson. Insert countless other people of trans experience. And that norm that was created by whiteness, by white privilege, by white men, trickles on down to people who do not have privilege. Because one thing is, if white men are at the top of the privilege, white women are at the bottom of it. White women only have privilege by proximity. There is no privilege afforded to white women. That is why white women say, don't make me call my husband, my cousin. Do you know who my daddy is? Because white women do not have privilege. The only privilege white women have is proximity. They do not. I'm getting on a topic totally unrelated, but that is the one of the issues that I see in our culture is people of trans experience got bad PR. And even deeper, it is fucked up that people of trans experience need PR, because we would not be who we are had it not been for some trans somebody doing something that was authentic to them. And all of a sudden, all the rest of us can be a little more feminine or a little more this or a little more that, because somebody was a whole lot of those things and they paved the way for us. And it's unfortunate they don't get the flowers they deserve on any level. Now, Donnie here, the person that we were reacting to, has some holes in his story. And I think that that the fact that he has a platform is built on the backs of trans women who do not have the privilege of being a man and being pretty or beautiful or whatever his adjectives were. And so now, because of a whole lot of courageous trans women doing the work of creating culture, Donnie can exist. I can exist. The rest of us can exist. And it's unfortunate that we are sitting here talking about Donnie. Again, I made that decision, but it's unfortunate we're sitting here talking about Donnie when there are a whole bunch of other trans people who should be getting their flowers. But we're talking about this girl saying that somebody was toxically masculine. See, what was fragilely masculine because they not into you. All right. Yeah, I think that's a perfect time to take a break. I'm done talking about Donnie. We'll be right back. What up, though? I am Jay the Gentleman, and I host all the craziness that happens right here in the back room. As far as I know, we are the only queer-led podcast that has its own studio in Atlanta. We party in the back room. We have a Kiki in the back room.
Get that gooch licked on or something. Like, figure it out. Like.
We have a cocktail in the back room.
Oh, that's really good.
That's what she said. And we grow in the back room. Every time y'all are here, every time you're here, you say something that I'm just like, that really happens? If you're in the Atlanta area, you want to join us in the back room, visit dearblackgayman.com/tickets to see what live shows and events we have coming up right here in the back room. What is stigma? I truly believe that it comes up when you think something can't happen to you. Like when we think we could never be femme, so we end up with femmephobia laced all up and through our dating profiles. Or when we don't be out there like that, so we slut shame people for doing openly what we try to sneak and do privately. But there aren't too many spaces where stigma rises to a criminal level like it does with HIV.
Knowingly gave her HIV and never told her he was infected.
We're talking to 4 black men from across the country, all living with HIV. I want to see how stigma comes up in their lives and what we can all do to overcome it. What up, dog? Welcome back to Dear Black Gay Men Podcast. I am Jay the Gentleman. Before we go, let's comment on comments. Hit it. The comments keep the conversation going through the roof right here on Dear Black Gay Men Podcast. If you want to add your 2 cents to the conversation, just go to livestream.dearblackgaymen.com and join us live on the show. The link is pinned in the comments. There are several comments I want to respond to because y'all been doing y'all big one today. Cortez said that camouflage theory can apply to liars or really anything nefarious. I don't remember the part of the conversation that came through because I be present, but I think I liked it because you correctly used the term nefarious. Very master's degree of you. Carlos LaFleur said, I'm not about outing people, but I'm not about to make your closet my issue. Okay, so the question that I posed before our first break was, do we as people out of the closet have a responsibility to help those who are in the closet? Now, I do think on a cultural level, there is some responsibility that we can take. But on an interpersonal level, like your particular closet, oh, that's you. You got to clean that shit out yourself. I don't know what's in there. I don't want to know. I don't know what needs to go to the Goodwill. I don't know what needs to go to the trash. I don't know what fits, what doesn't. That's you. But I do think culturally, Carlos, and let me know in the chat, do you think that we have a responsibility to just make Black culture an easier place to come out to? Now, answer that for me in the chat, Carlos. Holla at Your Boy says, I feel like we do need to help those in the closet. Our stories of survival can be helpful with getting them secured in their feelings to eventually come out one day as well. I think that's the whole purpose why Dear Black Gay Men exists. I think that there are people that are so in the closet that they can't see the door anymore. I don't think those people can be helped, nor do I feel the need to ever try to help them. Like I think a closet is a perfect analogy in that sense, because you got to walk toward the door on your side, and we got to be on the other end with open arms. You got to swing that door open and make some steps and strides. That is your baggage. But I do think that the stories of survival, like what you all share here on this platform, on this podcast, are so important, because you never know who could be watching from where and what their life is looking like. And so being able to translate what we talk about here into actual conversation that can help people is the reason why Dear Black Gay Men exists for me. Thank you for that, highlight your boy. Rolando says yes, but by not outing them first off, then by helping them come to a place where they're safe enough, comfortable enough, secure enough to come out and be their authentic selves. I agree. And I think Rolando, let me know if you would agree with what I just said, is that it is both parts. Like, yes, we queer people can make this a safe place for you to come out to, a soft place for you to fall when you get out that closet. Because, you know, some people sashay out and some people stumble out that bitch. Yes, we can make it a soft place to fall, but there's some internal personal work that comes with coming out. And I think DL folks where we started the conversation, unfortunately, they don't think they are so unaware that the work is necessary. Because I would wager ain't too many DL folks that think they clockable, even though we be clocking them. And I can't really tell you that you are clockable, that I know you one of the gays without outing you. So sometimes it's us on the outside of the closet at this standstill, like, hey nigga, you see us out here? Y'all remember that Medea's played TikTok? You see us? Do she see us? I see you. You see me? I think that's the kind of the standoff that we play with a lot of DL people who are beyond the help. Holla at Your Boy also said, I've always felt like outing is a dangerous game that nobody should be playing. I agree. Outing someone is a dangerous game. And I think that's why one of the reasons why the DL Whisperer, one of the benefits of the DL Whisperer being banned. Although I will bet money that if he was getting a TikTok check, he found a new screen name, DL Whisperer 1 or some shit. Ibanu Gaden, I hope I'm saying that right. I hope I'm not mispronouncing that. But Ibanu Gaden says, sounds like the old adage, you can lead a horse to water, but you can't make him drink. That's true. That's true. No matter how welcoming and open our arms are on the outside of the closet, you can't never make nobody take the steps toward it. And I will wager, like, I remember when I wasn't out, what I ended up doing was digging my heels in. Like, if I thought I was passing, I was never. Like, I remember my freshman year of college, I took was it band class? So for some reason, I was in a class that was being recorded. I think it was jazz. I took Jazz 101 and I was playing the keys. And, you know, in the middle of a break, we are recording a jam session. In the middle of the break, I started talking and I was like, that's what I sounded like. My voice was so up here. Like, I sounded like a little girl. I sounded like a little kid. My voice was so high. And then mix that with, you know, tight clothes and a sachet in my walk and awkward and all the things. I was so goddamn gay. But I refused to acknowledge it. So what happened was I ended up digging my heels in, making it seem like I can't be gay. There's no possibility that I am gay, even though clearly I'm at the gay club Thursday, Friday, Saturday, and Sunday. It's when I lived in San Antonio. Gay club was Electric Company on Thursday. It was the Bonham Exchange on Friday. It was the Saint on Saturday. And then it was back to the Bonham Exchange on Sunday. And I lived my best life. That's when clubs were right. Cortez said Black culture needs to do better about allowing a safe space for femininity and queer. There will be no need to hide if they were accepted. I agree, but I think that is one piece that joins all of us together, is that Black culture just is not a safe space for femininity and queerness, because we expect women to be hard and strong and do all I can do bad all by myself, and we don't give a space for them to be feminine. Women don't give a space for queer people to be queer and it not come across as solely gay. You can't be pansexual, you can't be bisexual. Gay people have that same problem to a degree. I don't think we have a space for any of us to be ourselves. Which is, again, shameless plug, why Dear Black Gay Men exists, so we can remind ourselves of how dope it is to be Black gay men and love Black gay men. And we got a lot of viewers that are one or the other. They love us, but they're not Black gay themselves or Black or men, or they are us, and they might not be actively in love. That's one, again, shameless plug. Aaron Wood says, sometimes being DL is about maintaining a business air. Unfortunately, some professional fields aren't so accepting and can cost him money in the long run. I think that's one of those things that reasons we develop like DL versus discreet. Like, I do think that there are people who are fully gay, but they are not, wearing gay pride flags everywhere or wearing hoochie daddy hunting hats, because they are conservative or discreet or whatever. Like, I have a friend of mine who works in a very conservative field, but he is super duper gay. He ain't, laying with a woman one day and laying with a man another. And he hasn't had women in his life in a long periodically time, just like me. But his field just doesn't allow for him to just be, open and, leading the Pride March. I think that is discreet. I would not qualify that as DL, because he's not hiding anything. He's just not putting things on as full display as they can be. But I think the down low concept comes in when you're trying to play either both sides of the field, alternate from one side to another in a deceptive way, or when you got a man and a woman, or a man and a trans person, or a man and something. Like when you got too many things going on, I think that's when it rises to the level of DL. Joseph Whittingham said, one of the reasons why I do believe in racial solidarity for the gays is that we inherited the PR of white gays like Will and Grace because RuPaul wasn't going to get it done for us. Is RuPaul getting it done for us now? I think that's what you're saying, but I'm just double tapping on that particular, because I think RuPaul is amazing for queer culture, but I don't know that RuPaul is, out here is celebrating Juneteenth. I think RuPaul is amazing for queer culture. But I think when it comes to Black queer, we gotta dig a little deeper for our idols. Black queer culture is like, y'all remember the DL Chronicles? Everybody in there. That's Black queer culture. Noah's Ark, Black queer culture. T.S. Madison, Black queer culture. MJ Rodriguez, even though MJ is Latina, but MJ Rodriguez is people of color. Dominique Morgan is Black queer culture. Dominique, who was Electra on Dominique? What was her last name? Electra on Pose, Black queer culture. Angelica Ross, Black queer culture. I don't know that we have one of those kind of names as prominent. Like, I put RuPaul and Karamo and Norman from Wendy Williams, all of them in the same boat. But let me go back to the comments. So I open up the comments again, and the first thing I see is Nasty Pig. I love this show. I love it. I don't know what y'all are talking about. I don't know what's happening. Pride outfit I have is my Nasty Pig out. Oh, that's where it came from. The Pride outfit I have is my Nasty Pig outfit. I was at an event for Pride, and a friend of mine was there. I will not tell you who, because y'all would know who he is if I said. But he was wearing socks, and I was walking behind him, and I was, you look down and you see words, because the way the brain works, we can pick up words. His one sock had DU on it, and so I looked at it again, and his sock said "cum dump." And I loved that for him. And his partner, who was, they were just living their best life. Nasty pig, cum dump, boy. I remember seeing this, one dude had a jockstrap that had boy on the back, on the waistband. I love gay folk. I love us for real. Okay. Oh, Joseph added some context. You're reading that late. I meant in relation to trans people having good PR. Gay black people don't have a good PR. We just have inherited PR from wholesome gay and interracial gay advertising. Agreed. I still agree with you. I get that my context might have been off, but I still agree with you. All right, teammates. I think that's a perfect place to call it for today. I appreciate y'all more than I can ever express, which is what I normally say later in the show. That was our show. I am Jay the Gentleman. We'll be right back here with another episode tomorrow, Thursday, on Dear Black Gay Men Podcast. We go live at 9 p.m. Eastern. For more exclusive content, you can join us on Substack at dearblackgaymen.substack.com. The link is in the description. I appreciate y'all more than I can ever express. I will see you next time. Bye.